Learning rate schedules. Description. Learning rate schedules adjust the learning rate during training to optimize convergence and performance of machine learning models over time. Types. Constant learning rate. Description. Maintains a fixed learning rate throughout training. Use case. Suitable for stable and well understood problems where the optimal learning rate is known in advance. Example. Learning rate 0.01. Time-based decay. Description. Reduces the learning rate by a constant factor over time steps or epochs. Formula. Learning rate initial learning rate 1 decay rate epoch. Parameters. Initial learning rate. Initial learning rate. Decay rate. Rate at which the learning rate decays. Use case. Effective for problems where the optimal learning rate decreases over time as the model converges. Example. Initial learning rate 0.1. Decay rate 0.01. Step decay. Description. Reduces the learning rate at specific intervals or epochs by a fixed factor. Formula. Learning rate initial learning rate decay factor flow epoch decay steps. Parameters. Initial learning rate. Initial learning rate. Decay factor. Factor by which the learning rate is reduced. Decay steps. Interval or number of epochs after which to decay the learning rate. Use case. Useful for problems that benefit from large initial learning rates that decrease abruptly. Example. Initial learning rate 0.1. Decay factor 0.5. Decay steps 10. Exponential decay. Description. Reduces the learning rate exponentially over time steps or epochs. Formula. Learning rate initial learning rate express decay rate epoch. Parameters. Initial learning rate. Initial learning rate. Decay rate. Rate at which the learning rate decays. Use case. Effective for problems where a smooth, gradual decrease in the learning rate is desired. Example. Initial learning rate 0.1. Decay rate 0.01. Polynomial decay. Description. Reduces the learning rate polynomially over time steps or epochs. Formula. Learning rate initial learning rate 1 epoch max epochs power. Parameters. Initial learning rate. Initial learning rate. Max epochs. Maximum number of epochs. Power. Exponent controlling the decay. Use case. Useful for problems where a slower decrease in the learning rate towards the end of training is beneficial. Example. Initial learning rate 0.1. Max epochs 100. Power 2.